You ever watched a cartoon so derivative and unoriginal in everything it does that you wonder why it exists? I'm showing you my go-to example right now. Being a Canadian, I got to watch Kids WB for the first time in 2005. And on the first day we had the channel, this is the show I watched. Airing from 2005 to 2006 on the now defunct Kids WB block, you might think that this concept is certainly a cartoon of a different color, or I suppose with all these fruit, perhaps many colors. Unfortunately for me, Coconut Fred's Fruit Salad Island falls flat, and show that it only sees in shades of black and white. Let's take a closer look at this show and what it's all about. Alright, you ready? You want to see the show's very first joke that it has to offer in the very first episode? Let's get to it!
Oh yeah! Got a drum. 1, 2, 3. Whoops!
And right from the get-go, you know exactly what this show is all about. It is a cartoon revolving around a protagonist whose only sole purpose in life is to be a flat-out annoying doucher to everyone he meets. Coconut Fred is the annoying protagonist of questionable morality. The cherry, named Bingo, is the protagonistic voice of reason. Mr. Greenrind is the antagonistic voice of reason. Slip and Slide, the two bananas, are your stereotypical hillbilly idiots. And Bungaberry, the strawberry, I don't know what the fuck he does. I don't know, his role's different in every episode. Bungaberry acts like a dog sometimes, so I guess we'll say he's the mute, misunderstood, smart one. While the rest of the voice cast is either incredibly generic or ultimately forgettable, the really shocking thing about Coconut Fred's Fruit Salad Island is that the titular character is voiced by Rob Paulsen.
FYI, frost can't accumulate unless it's below freezing.
Yes, that Rob Paulsen.
No, it isn't. This is mine, and that one's yours.
Yes, that Rob Paulsen.
You know, I even made up a song. It's called Folding and Hanging. I could teach it to you.
Yes, the highly influential award-winning voice actor. On his podcast, Talkin' Tunes, Rob Paulsen has gone on record saying that Coconut Fred has been one of his least favorite roles, citing the entire show as just being a horrible ripoff on SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh, my eye!
Wish me luck, everybody. I'm gonna save the giant octopus.
The whole show just feels really unpleasant to watch. At least when you watch something like SpongeBob, there's the odd character in the show that has an appreciation for its main character. Everyone in Coconut Fred's Fruit Salad Island doesn't like Coconut Fred, except for his close friends, and the ones who actually are okay with him all the time are complete idiots. Gives off this feeling that the creators of the show were just mindlessly ripping off SpongeBob, but didn't understand why people like SpongeBob.
No, just run along somewhere else. Bingo! I've got a new job for you.
What the fuck kind of animation is this? What kind of mouth syncing is that? Mr. Greenrind should not be speaking so clearly when he's barely able to move his mouth. Here's what it should actually be like. Even the show just doesn't look good. Everything just looks so rough and ugly, and I could have drawn this in my notebook when I was like 8. You can tell they were still kind of going for a weird, gross-out SpongeBob, Ren and Stimpy kind of look. They have that weird wrinkle fetish with facial expressions, but it just doesn't look good, especially on those backgrounds. The backgrounds are so muted, more photorealistic looking. They're kind of meant to look stylized as well, but they're not stylized in a way that complements the style of the show's animation and main characters. Everything just looks like it clashes. It's so ugly. I know I talked about this in brief already, but there's a scene in the very first episode of the show that shows exactly why Coconut Fred doesn't work, but SpongeBob absolutely does, or at least it did. When SpongeBob and Patrick are hatching some kind of scheme in their own show, the other characters usually aren't met with distaste or annoyance. SpongeBob and Patrick also meet with their own misfortune from time to time while carrying out their own schemes, so it makes things a little more balanced in terms of the humor.
What if...
Just make your paper!
Yes! You're just as excited as me!
The problem with Coconut Fred's character is that nothing bad ever happens to him, even though the viewer wants bad things to happen. He's just an asshole, a Flanderization of SpongeBob's character. He doesn't have goals, he doesn't have interests, he doesn't have hobbies. Everything is an episode by episode basis. It's like prank videos on YouTube, he just harasses people. And look, I'm a writer. I was born and raised to be the writing type. I am a strong proponent to the idea that comedy in writing should always be derived from misery. For there to be a punchline, it has to be at someone's expense. Otherwise, it is a reference. It is an observation. Coconut Fred has that, but the reason why it's not good comedy is because you don't know any of the characters. They're all so one note that you don't even really feel misery. This is the kind of low-grade, forgettable entertainment where the show just keeps saying to you, yeah, just go with it.
I have a really bad toothache.
A toothache? Lucky!
Every time I see the shit-eating grin on his face, I die a little inside. Even when the show tries to delve past just visual humor and bottom-of-the-barrel gags, it just doesn't deliver. What the fuck just happened? Why did you go to the ground after spitting mouthwash? Oh, well, duh, of course, so that you could go into the extra secret dimension of teeth people. I cannot emphasize enough how badly this show falls simply because the protagonist never has anything bad happen to him. You rarely see him frowning, you never see him get hit, you never see him fall, you never see him upset about anything. Even when Fred is subjected to things that should displease any person in any show, in any situation, simply because of how unpleasant the situation is, he doesn't bat an eye. In fact, it's the complete opposite. He embraces misfortune, and that is why all of the comedy centered at Fred also doesn't work.
Might even need a fruit canal. Hop in the chair.
A fruit canal? How many visits does a fruit canal take, Doc?
At least 3, maybe 5.
Yay me!
Wow, I have never seen a team of writers so misinformed on the basic principles of comedy. A root canal is the extraction of a tooth's nerve or pulp as a result of infection. It's really painful. Yet Fred here embraces it with open arms. Did the writers seriously have no idea what they were doing? Did they not realize that making a character not face any consequences or misfortune in its entire career as a character makes it the most unlikable, unrelatable character possible, especially when they are also the ones inflicting misfortune on other people? Look, assholes and unlikable characters in stories can work, but this is by no means the way you do it. Firstly, an asshole character needs a motive. Why are they such an asshole? What are they hiding? What is their end game in being an asshole? An asshole type of character can also be misled. From a lack of consideration of others, maybe this character comes off as an asshole for some superficial, selfish reason. They mean well, but maybe they just made a wrong step, and this sort of conflict is usually the center of the episode and gets resolved. When an asshole is in a show just for the sake of being an asshole, they're usually a secondary character or an antagonist. When you put them as the protagonist, you get shit like Johnny Test. But that's another video for another time. Coconut Fred is like barely anything. There's barely a story, there's barely characters, there's barely comedy. The show was obviously rushed in a lot of spots, and you could tell by all the non sequitur humor that even a lot of the writing team wasn't really a constructed writing team. It's not even like the show strived to do anything with writing. We need a beginning, middle, and end. Then we have to put punchlines at some points throughout. If you want to watch a really shitty version of SpongeBob SquarePants, so modern day SpongeBob SquarePants, you might as well just watch modern day SpongeBob SquarePants.
Well, let me take a look-see. Open wide. Ooh. Oh. It's nothing serious, just a little sand stuck between your teeth.
Wow! My tooth doesn't hurt anymore.